We are live. Ooh, that cup is hot. Good morning. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday, everybody, and it's 7 a.m. So you know that it is time for what's in your cup. 129 consecutive weeks. So welcome to episode 129. Now, who do we have chirping in early? Where are our early birds? First with the chirp, we got Sugar Skull Serpents. What is going on? He's out there dropping clutches, people. Congratulations to Kevin. He got some clutches. He got some eggs dropping all over the place. Wow, he should be training to take on Paul from Large Marge Morphs. I see Stan. Good morning. How are you? See your serpents in the house. And of course, he likes to push my buttons. We got Morph, who loves, absolutely loves when I wear New York Yankee hats. I know he likes it, and I'm gonna have to agree with Sea of Serpents, guys. Don't be creeps. Come on, stop the creeping. This ain't TLC. Go ahead and smash the like button. And if you haven't done so already, and this is your first time here, you're just a POS. Go hit that subscribe button. So what's up? We got a Eric B and no Rakim. Wow, that's rough. That's rough, Rakim. One of the greatest ever. But Eric B was making the money. But I'm glad you're here to catch it live. But I don't mind those of you that come back for the playback. I understand it. Some of you are lazy asses that don't get up this early. Some of you are in other time zones. But some of you always find a way to make it happen. And those are the ones I love the most. Pineapple, 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 grow some balls. What is going on, my brother? Haven't seen you up in here in a minute. We got that Florida love. All right. All right. Who else is up in here? I know I've seen some other people that there he goes. More Floridian love, even though I think you're not in Florida anymore, right? Will's hella heat. If you have Will's Hella Heat on Instagram, guys, you're just gonna see photo after photo after photo of his babies that are just crawling out the eggs. He is another happy new daddy. Speaking of time zones, we have Lizard Morphs all the way down from down under. If you guys missed last night's show, go check it out. You know, we do the Tuesday show. We have officially taken over Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. It is a non-reptile related podcast. It is Snakes and the Fat Man, who is also up bright and early. I saw his activity up at like 4:35 in the morning. I was very, very impressed. Very impressed. And he is in here wishing you all a good morning. And of course, we can't forget about Luke. Luke, I am your father. There he goes, Snakes and the Fat Man with the morning guys. All right, so we got all three of us monkeys. I'll leave it at that. If you want to make find a cute little joke about us, go check last night's episode where somebody referred us to three monkeys trying to do something, and I'm not even going to mention what they said we were, what type of three monkeys we were. If you missed last night's episode, we touched up on the whole woke movement and woke corporations and woke capitalism and go woke, go broke. So go check it out. Go check it out. Plus, I like it when I lead the show and get a lot of views. So I like to take all the credit. You guys already know that. Enigmatic, how are you? Enigmatic's in the building, and he is actually the first 43rd comment in there. So what is up, Shane? Small Town Exotics. I haven't seen you, H&H, in a while. Welcome back. And of course, the man, the chat champion, Balls and Strikes Pythons, who always keeps me on my toes. And Sal's Balls. What's up? The Nate Breeders. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Black Jack. All right, guys, we're going to start getting going. I think I got most of you up in here. If I missed you, I see you, Heathen Hatchery, Jersey Balls, and all the love that's up in the building. Text Oma, there she goes. That's who I was looking for. That my morning doesn't start right if I don't see Holly in the chat here, guys. And I know Holly has to be tired because she's in a different time zone. Aren't you in a different time zone? And she's up with us on Tuesday night with all the shenanigans. So yeah, you know how that goes. All right, guys. So welcome to another Wednesday morning show. Um, we're just gonna get into it. My DMs are always buzzing, and it's happened quite a few times where I receive DMs about other podcasters mentioning me. And as you know, I am the CEO's pops. Okay, I'm Brian. The CEO is Samson. Samson Snakeatorium is named after Samson, who this is his thing. We do it together, obviously. He's 11 years old now, but he started this when he was 6. And it was a great excuse for me to use the kid and his new affinity for snakes to get away with starting a collection all over again and adding to the one boa that I had at the time. So that's Samson. He's Samson. Okay. Um, a lot of times people do refer to me as Samson. I get it. Um, I understand. It's Samson. There's no P in it. Macromorph says, is it Samson or Samson? It is Samson. Um, like the biblical, the strongest man in the Bible, Samson. But he's actually named after my father and my stepfather, where I took their two names and put them together. My father's nickname being my stepfather's nickname being Sammy, and my father's nickname being Sonny. So I took the Sam from Sammy and the Son from Sonny, put them together. So there you go, little family history there. So the DMs they light up, and quite often when someone says somebody was talking about you, they were talking about me. But lately, it's been a lot of references to a Samson, and that they're talking about Samson. And when I go and I check, it's not in reference to the CEO, and it's not in reference to me. It's actually in reference to someone that's been in the reptile world for quite some time. He goes by the name of Samson Pruitt. So there is no connection between Samson Pruitt, or when you're hearing these people refer to a Samson in the reticulated python world, and us. So I just want to make that clear, and I do appreciate those of you that do come back and ask us or inform us that they've heard this. Uh, Samson Pruitt is, I guess, the founder, owner, something there in that world of Slither Inc. And that's what he specializes in. He does specialize in reticulated pythons, those big snakes. They're huge, right? Take a lot of work. I know a couple of us in the chat may have them, or we at least definitely know someone that does have them. Patrick says that piece of shit dog fighter. Well, there has been well, there's evidence. There is evidence of dog fighting um out there, and we'll elaborate on that. And again, what what I'm gonna show you today, I want to warn you. I mean, you should be warned about every one of my shows. But today more so than ever, there's going to be definitely some extremely graphic, disgusting, enraging content. It will make you emotional, whether it will get you extremely angry, whether it will make you sad. Um, it's going to move you. It's some of the most disturbing content I've seen, and this hasn't been new. I did post original links in the video description as usual, and I will state right now that the photos I will show you are of alleged animal abuse. I did not take these photos. I have never been to his facility, and all I'm seeing are photos that are allegedly taken by someone that worked at the facility. Um, so you will be seeing some very, very disturbing images. So Eric says, you mean he specializes in highly overpriced reticulated pythons. I guess that's all perspective, right? Because pay for a t-shirt at Walmart, pay for the same exact t-shirt at Nordstrom, and you're gonna pay a lot more at Nordstrom. So some people do get consumed by branding. Okay. Um, so yeah, I definitely understand that. Now, if you were to do some research, and we've already discussed the dogs, that's something that really frustrates me. I just had one of my pit bulls pass away this year. It was really uh, sad. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Dogs are, it's hard to just consider a dog a pet. Um, we've had our pit bulls for 12 and 13 years. So when my male passed at 13, he literally died in my arms. And it was a really sad moment. And for those of you that are dog lovers, you know that dogs are part of your family. They're not just a pet. Okay. It's a whole different connection. And more so than your spouse, your lover, your significant other, your children, definitely employees. Dogs are the most loyal animal in the world. You can have the worst day possible and come and scream at your dog and ignore it and walk away and stomp away and shove it away as it's trying to come get its love because it's been waiting for you all day. And that dog will just wait for you to be ready to receive its love. Dogs are just part of your family. Um, I have my female pit bull, Mooka. Bryson passed away this year, and Mooka, who's extremely sad and depressed since his passing because she's never known anything but him. So to hear of animal or dog abuse, and specifically pit bulls, really does hurt and hit home because there's such an amazing breed that gets a really bad rap because of really shitty people. That's what it comes down to. Troy says, I have seen Slither Inc. vending shows and have sick, dying, and even dead animals in their displays. Absolutely disgusting. I typically avoid spilling tea publicly, but do not buy from Slither Inc. Wow. I don't I wow, that is disheartening, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, because we're always talking about USARC, right? And we already know that USARC fights for our right to be reptile breeders and reptile keepers, and that we don't want government oversight. We don't want those that don't understand what we do or why we do it to tell us what to do and how to do it. But there has to be some type of balance here. Okay, there definitely has to be some type of balance. So to hear a comment like that, where's the oversight? Where's the outrage? Where are the organizers of a show holding a person accountable for something like that? That is just absolutely atrocious. I mean, it's an atrocity to say the least to have dead animals, sick animals in displays at a show and not remove that vendor or even threaten legal action. I mean, I'm sure we don't want that negative publicity associated with the show, but do you want people knowing that you have vendors that do this and actually bring it to your show, threatening the livelihood? Because if that's how they care for their animals, that's what you see. Just imagine the unseen, right? We talk about biosecurity. Imagine the unseen, the viruses and the mites and everything else that can spread. Gosh, this was a tough one. It was definitely a tough one. Just getting the photos, watching the videos. It was a tough one, and they've been popping up frequently, and supposedly there's more videos coming down the pike. And there's big names. There's a lot of big names associated with this whole situation. So that's what's really frustrating because politics and everything, right? So how do we handle situations like this? That's what I'm hoping to hear from you guys. How do we, and for those of you that don't watch this live, leave comments under the video after the video. But how do we self-regulate? How do we handle these situations? So I do want to shout out Crystal Crabtree of VIP Morphs Canada. And thank you very much for the lovely t-shirt and swag that was sent. Crystal has been an amazing supporter of Bronx Down Under, the Tuesday night show that I do with Snakes and a Fat Man and Lizard Morphs. And as a matter of fact, the other half, Gerald, was on the 100th episode of Snakes and the Fat Man, where he was on the 15 Minutes of Lame segment and was hosted and interviewed by none other than Justin of Canova. So that was pretty cool and very awkward to say the least. So if you did not catch the 100th episode of Snakes and the Fat Man, also the only time where Chris Eaton has done a live episode of Snakes and the Fat Man, go to his channel and definitely check it out. It was nice to see a lot of people drop by and show the love and support that he has earned doing reptile podcast and reptile related media for the last 7 years. Okay, so if you look at where we are today with a podcast every 5 minutes all over YouTube and every podcast platform, he is definitely one of the pioneers that made it happen. Love him, hate him, facts are facts, and that is a fact. And again, congratulations to meeting that milestone of 100 episodes. So we have the dog lovers in the building. I see Holly says she misses her wag wag, and H&H Pythons has two pit bulls and a cane corso. Oh, that's a biggie right there. I definitely admire that dog. It's just from what I hear, not the greatest family dog, and as you know, pit bulls are amazingly great family dogs. So Macklemore says he's not the only big name that has sold sick animals at shows. We definitely know this. Um, and that's what I'm saying. Why aren't vendors being held accountable at shows? Okay, especially when it's visible, when it's physically evident. Okay, we got to show some love though. I got H&M Exotics up in here. Hashtag Q. Definitely an OG in the What's in Your Cup forum. Let's see here. All about those. Enigmatic says it's all about those Australian shepherds. I'm a pit bull Rottweiler type of guy. Love cane corsos. Just scared about the whole family thing. Let's see. Heathen Hatchery has a three-legged rescue. That's interesting. Do you have like a little wheel or something, or does the dog just get by on the three legs? Because I've seen those little mechanisms for dogs that are missing limbs. I think it's kind of cute when you see how they are able to adjust and adapt. We have three names: Steve, Umbrella Steve, in the building. AJ's Exotics, who got some big things going on. I hope to hear more about it soon, and maybe they'll be back because no one's been on more shows than Umbrella Steve. And maybe he'll come back and talk about all that's going on in his world because he has some big stuff going on in the world. So, all right. So let's see here. Throw some ball says, I used to rehab dogs in fighting situations. It's so sad to walk into a space where they fight. You know, you can't save them all. You can't. You definitely can't save them all. That is 100% a fact. So I see some love for the Doberman. And just so you know, the Doberman comes from the Rottweiler. It is Rottweiler, I believe, black and tan coonhound, in case you didn't know. So now you know. Okay. And speaking about dogs, I know Holly has some big dogs too. She got like the what was the dog's name? Marmaduke. The biggies. What was the cartoon? Was it Marmaduke? So Great Dane. That's what Holly has. Great Danes. Speaking of Great Danes, hashtag Q says that he's a Dane guy, but I have an American and a Pitty too. The Pit is the only one I have to worry about being overprotective. She has a short fuse. Funny thing is, it was the Rottweilers. My Rotties were the ones that were absolutely terrifying and overly protective, especially of my daughter at the time, who was very young. You could not go near her. So, you know. AJ's Exotics is trying to come back on the show. I know Lizard Morse would love that. I know he would definitely love it. Look at all the pit bull lovers up in here. Gosh, I'd love to see it. I love my pits. We have 4 dogs themselves. So I love to see that. Great. Look at all the pit bull love that's out there. And pit, before the French dog, before the Frenchies, which are now the most owned dog in America, pit bulls were definitely a thing with the ball python world. People had ball pythons, they usually had a pit bull. So you see there's some sort of love and affinity there. So all right, guys. So I want to show you something real quick. This video is pretty old. It actually inspired me to drink out of my triple B cup. Those of you that don't know what's Triple B TV, that is another Brian, Brian Costco. And as a matter of fact, I think the Triple Bs are for the Bryans. I believe that's what Triple B. I'm not sure. Please don't hold me to it, but I believe it may be Barcheck, Costco. And I was gonna say Costco. My wife and I were talking about Costco last night. Cusco, Barcheck, and Gundy. All 3 who spell their name incorrectly by the name. By the way, they all spell their Brian with an I, not with a Y. Just so you go, so you know. More Pitbull love. I love it. Sugar Skull has his little couch potato Pitbull. All right, so I came across this video. Brian quite often does tackle difficult topics, and he does it from a more, I would say, non-biased perspective, which I can definitely learn from because I'm kind of pedantic in my ways sometimes. So I can definitely learn from that, and many of us can. So I do appreciate the stuff he's put out throughout the years. And when hearing about this whole Samson thing and wondering who is this other guy, Samson, because I will be uh, completely honest, I've never heard of the man until people were DMing me about him. I'm not in the reticulated world, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So here's a little video clip from a Triple B interview, Triple B TV interview, and as usual, the original video and full length video is in the video description below. Go and show the other Brian some love if you hadn't seen this video, and check out his channel. I mean, he's been doing this for many years and puts out some good stuff.
Whole thing was just a way to try and hurt me. But you want to know what actually happened in the process? As soon as they left, I hit $1,500 in sales in back-to-back people who came up in support. And this is the thing that people don't understand. All of these people with the negativity and the drama, when they attack me online, I get 100 friend requests. I have people who reach out to me.
The no such thing as bad publicity theory.
Well, that is a part of it. People came to my booth this weekend just to see what all the hype was about. And I pull them in because I'm real, because I'm honest, because I'm professional, because I've got amazing animals, and I understand how to sell those animals to people when they come by. But what it is more so than the Kardashian effect, I guess is kind of what I like to call it. The people who build their entire fame and everything around negativity and drama. For me, what happens all the time is people that I don't know, who are not involved on any level, but are intelligent people and see what happens, and they reach out to me and they say, anybody who takes an objective look at the stuff that these people are saying can see instantly that it has to be bullshit, man. It has to be, right?
All right, so there's just a lot there, and I always train people, especially when they're in sales, how to read body language. You have to 95% of our communication is body language. Okay, it's not what the person's saying. It's how that the body is reacting. It's facial expressions. You know, you don't have to tell someone that they're disgusting if you cringe in their face, and or somebody gets too close with that hot breath, and you just ooh, you take a step back. Little tip there, guys: if anybody ever offers you gum, take it. Don't 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 say no, thank you. It's a nice way of them telling you your breath smells like shit. So take it. Balls and Strike says Cusco looks so uncomfortable there. Yeah, he definitely does. And again, he tackles. I think the only time I've ever seen him almost, you know, lose it was during the whole Texas thing, and we've covered that before. I've done a show on it, where Paul Python's 101 kind of, not kind of, but pretty much handled that whole situation and just said a lot of really dumb things. So he and Billy did a show with Chris, I believe it's Chris, right? From Ball Python's 101, and reamed reamed him a new one. There's definitely something on that. So you might want to go back and check out some of those old episodes. But the Kane, he referred to it as the Kardashian effect. That you build your whole career over negative. One of the things that I hate in our community is that more people than not want to avoid these topics. So I get a lot of heat for talking about things like this. This is not the first time I've done a show regarding a big breeder and their bad practices or alleged bad practices, right? Um, we had the Bob Clark situation, we had the nerd situation, we had the Billy situation, which was actually a good one, right? Because good came out of the Billy situation, and we're not going to delve into any of these topics. We have a playlist. You have 100 and what episode is this? 29, 129 episodes in the What's in Your Club, What's in Your Cup playlist there, so you can go back and if you haven't seen those episodes. Um, but I've had people give me heat because we talk about things, and sometimes we want to look at the person and how we want to think of the person, but not look at the reality of what's going on. If people are having situations, and if someone like a Troy makes a comment like they made in the chat here, um, That's really disheartening because Troy's probably one of the least tea spilling people in the chat. He gives me a lot of shit, but he keeps his brand pretty neutral. Okay, balls and strikes pythons. He's done a lot to get his branding where it is today, and he's done a lot. He vends a lot, and he's creating beautiful animals. So a lot of people stay away from the controversy because it can taint your brand. So for someone like that to make that comment and put it out there, it's really disheartening. And I think that's the issue. Now, when you look at the person in that video with Brian, I think it's a great observation that Brian looked uncomfortable because it's almost like Brian wants to call bullshit, right? It's almost like he's looking at him like bullshit. Like, I hear what you're saying, but it's bullshit. And I think that is what needs to be done. I think we need to confront people more often on their bullshit. Okay. And when we don't, and you don't have to do it publicly. You don't. You can reach out to people directly, right? Most breeders' phone numbers are out there. Okay. Much love. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for the love. 49.99. Oh wow, thank you. That buys a lot of coffee, but I think I'm gonna take that money, put it on you kicking Sugar Skull Serpent's ass. Okay. I think we're gonna do that. But bringing it back, we need to hold people accountable. We don't want outsiders. We don't want government intervention, but yet we don't want to confront these topics. Okay. I think that is something that we have to challenge ourselves to be better at. Confrontation is a really, really difficult thing for some people. For other people, it's kind of like the air they breathe. I may have been guilty of confrontation here and there, uh, but confrontation can be extremely, extremely difficult for some people. Challenge yourself for the greater good. And I had a situation this week where one of my foremen told me he was having issues with one of his crew, and the advice I gave him was to challenge himself and not confront the person. Okay, you don't have to confront the person whether you like him, you don't like him. Confront the behavior that you think needs correction, and do it from a compassionate way, okay, where that person that you're speaking to now disassociates themselves personally from their action, and then you can actually start to dissect the problem, which is their behavior, right? So confront the behavior and just say, hey, this can, give the perception of this, or it looks like your animals are sick, what's going on, because you want to confront the behavior because the behavior is not acceptable, and people do change, but I think it's about approach. You have to figure out a way though, because we're going to lose more and more of our rights if we don't do this. Okay, we're going to lose more and more of our rights. Troy says giving you grief is all in good fun, Brian, and I know you know it. Speaking on something like this guy, to me, makes me feel like I'm irresponsible if I don't say something. And I agree, and I think you should all share that sentiment, where if you don't speak up, and again, if something is alleged, confront it from that concern, where you want to say this is really hard to believe. What's your reaction to these allegations that are out there, right? Because if they're saying it's alleged, we don't want to bash someone because we already know, especially in the social media world, that it's so easy to get on the attack and jump on that bandwagon, and then you find out that whoever you're attacking, it's not true, right? But if it quacks, right? If it quacks like a duck, right? So that's why I think that's really, really I think that's where you have to. I'm looking at the chat, guys, and these people make me laugh. We have a movement going on. Hashtag pay Holly. Well, you guys can pay Holly all you want. We don't. Holly doesn't work on this show. She does. She is part of the team on Bronx Down Under, and it's gonna be tough to pay Holly with only a $4.99 super chat. Okay, I think we had two $4.99 super chats, which are greatly appreciated. But after YouTube takes their 50%, that's $4.99. I think even Holly deserves more than that if you wanted to pay her. So send that money over for Holly, guys. Let me know. Send it over for Holly, and just remember, if you're gonna send it directly. Don't send it through YouTube. They take 50%. Okay, 50%. And the fat man is around. He's been up since bright and early. So Lizard Morph says Chris can pay Holly. Macomorph, people won't change when they think it's okay because they have been getting away with it for 20 plus years. I'm talking about a big breeder out by me that vends all the big shows. Yes, I agree. And if there is no confrontation, if there is no one holding them to certain standards or at least minimum standards, they're going to continue to do it. And that is 100% true. Okay. And I think that there is some of that that's going on because the fact is, a lot of you, I know I am guilty. I will put it out there. Guilty as charged. I am guilty of giving certain breeders passes that I wouldn't give newer breeders. Okay. Guilty. And most of you are guilty of the same. Okay. Whether it's their social media presence, whether it's their resume and what they've done in the community, whether it's a moment of glory, whatever the case is, we're guilty of giving someone a pass that we wouldn't give a newer person for the same exact behavior. You see? Behavior. Confront the behavior, not the person. And if you were to take people's names, histories, resumes, social media presence, all of that out of the picture, the same exact behavior, we would treat one person better or worse than the other. Confront the behavior, not the person. And then this was the other, and I'm glad Will mentioned this. This was the other point that I found interesting, because when you don't speak up, this is a result. Like Samson said in that interview, when people call him out on his bullshit, he ends up with 100 more followers and people spending more money. That is where we need to do better. Now, he also mentioned in that part, if you heard, that there are people that don't know of him. So it's not people that know what's going on. It's people that don't know of him because they don't hear of these alleged animal abuse actions. And I think that is why we have to hold ourselves accountable and accept the fact that we're not saying something, either confronting a person directly, sharing these things, sharing my video, subscribing to my channel. We're responsible, right? I think that's it. Patrick says, and he also, by the way, Patrick is a Brian as well. If you guys didn't know, they gave him every Irish name possible. He says, I don't give passes, but I'm an asshole. And I respect it. I definitely respect that position. And I will tell you this, I have to agree with him. He's an asshole. Okay, I definitely have to agree with him. This is another little clip, and I wanted to touch base on it a little bit as well.
I mean, so when I got here this weekend, I saw Garrett, and I like Garrett a lot. When I got here, Garrett was like, hey man, you should probably post something about how you've watered and cleaned your animals a couple of times during the trip. And I just kind of, it didn't even really sink in until I got back to my booth. I was like, hey, I brought $1 million worth of animals. Am I really not going to water those animals on the way here? And that's my point. It's common sense. If you can remove yourself from the drama and the hype and the anger of the possible dog fighting, rah, this guy's a terrible dog abuser, he mistreats his animals, he sticks them all in little tiny enclosures, doesn't clean them. If you can get past the hype and look at it from an objective standpoint, the stuff that these people are saying is completely ludicrous on most levels. How does one get to be one of the most productive reticulated python breeders in the world by mistreating his animals? How does that happen? It doesn't work that way.
That's hyperbole. That's all hyperbole, because again, some of the worst breeders are the big breeders in our community. Some of them have been around the longest. What happens is you grow much bigger, okay, than you can handle. And when you're making money off of this, you kind of stay away from hiring the necessary help with that growth. So what happens is the animals suffer. And if an animal dies, hey, I'll just charge more for this clutch over here and make up for it, right? Why is he calling negative comments hype? Well, it's a way to deflect, and a lot of what is happening there is deflection. Okay, and that's why I say we have to focus on behavior. All right, you have to find a way to confront the behavior. All right. And if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, please go follow me at Samson's Snakeatorium. And again, Samson Snakeatorium is in no way, shape, or form associated with Samson Pruitt or Slither Inc. Okay. I want us to be clear and disassociate the two, because I want no connection with that. Please do not think in any way, shape, or form that we are connected. Now, in the video, he goes on to discuss his dog. I want to say dog fighting allegations, dog breeding allegations, and in the comments, you will see that there are a couple of news articles there where he accepted the or pleaded he actually pleaded guilty to charges for more than just dogfighting. There was drugs involved, and it's happened more than once. And again, if you look at the date here, this is dating back to 2002. So again, if someone accepts or pleads guilty, it's no longer an allegation. So in the interview, as he continues in the interview, it's interesting how he discusses it from a deflective angle, right? Where, well, I did this because of this, and trying to make himself look like an upstanding figure. Go read the articles. I left you two links in the video description so you can have your own opinion, and let me know what your opinion is. Leave them in the comments underneath the original video. Um, I definitely want to hear other people's perspective. I don't want to be that guy that only thinks his way is the right way. But it's really interesting to hear someone continually deflecting these allegations or verifiable situations. He got a smack on the wrist for the dogfighting situation. He got a smack on the wrist. He was sentenced to 27 half weekends in jail. Okay. I guess that's a in and out type of program, like a halfway house type of situation. So to me, that's a definitely a smack on the wrist there, for what these accusations were. Troy says Samson is a big guy, probably 6'4" or so, 250 to 300 pounds. He is also a bully, which to me is just as despicable. He is known for starting altercations with other vendors that call him out. Mm. What happens with bullies is one day you bully the wrong person. Gosh, I think, and that's why, the whole anti-bully thing to me is alarming and makes us weak. Okay. The first time I confronted a bully, I think I was six, maybe no, I would say 7 years old. I went to Holy Rosary. So that was second grade. I was 7 years old. And he was about 3 or 4 years older than me. And he embarrassed me in front of a girl that I had a crush on. Long story short, playing wiffle ball. And I don't know if you guys did it, but we used to take the wiffle ball bats and cut the top off and stuff them with newspaper and then tape them up to make the bat heavier. And he pushed me on the floor while the wiffle ball was coming down. You see it? I'm traumatized by this, guys. 7-year-old kid, traumatized. And I'll never forget. It's kind of like, I think, my first issue with rage. And he was a good, like I said, 3, 4 years older. So, in development physically, there's a big difference there between a 7-year-old and a 10, 11-year-old. And after he did that, he went on, and I'll never forget, he was leaning on the car and reading. It looked like the Sunday comics. At least that's how I remember it, like reading the Sunday comics. And for those of you that don't know, because you've never seen a newspaper, because we live in this world, newspaper came with a section. The Sunday newspaper for the Daily News was a really, really thick paper, and it had a section of the Sunday comics, very colorful. They were colorful. I believe Marmaduke was there talking about Great Danes, and he was reading it. And all I know is that I looked around and I looked at the girl. Her name was Josephine, and I looked at Josephine. As a matter of fact, it was funny because she was a white girl that lived in Eastchester Gardens, and Eastchester Gardens were projects, New York City projects, but they called them Eastchester Gardens. And I looked at Josephine, and I just got this rage, and he never saw it coming, but that wiffle ball bat was like pow, 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 right through the comics. It was 3D. It went right through the comics. I'll never forget. I got in trouble. It was one of my uncle's tenants' kids, and my father had a fight over it. My uncle broke my wiffle ball bat, smacked me in the ass a few times because I broke the guy's face. Um, yeah, that's my view on bullies. Now, I'm not advocating for violence. Okay, please. I'm not advocating for violence here, guys. What I'm saying is, though, you have to stand your ground. Okay, it's if you don't stand your ground, the bully will not stop bullying. Now, the only the only thing that wasn't so cool is I had moved away for a little while, and when I returned 3 years later, now I'm like 11 years old, so it's like 4 years later, actually. Well, I moved at around 8. So when I came back, I'm like 11 years old. He's like 15, 16, still a huge difference in behavior. And I'll never forget, we were on Gun Hill Road in the Bronx in the handball courts, and he was like, so you want to try that again? And oh man, my heart dropped to my stomach, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't have the rage there. I needed the rage to be like the Hulk, and I didn't have it, and I thought I was gonna get my ass whooped. And he was like, I'm just kidding, and he gave me a pass. So that's it. Snakes and the Fat Man says stuffed wiffle ball bats. I'm old school as hell. Also putting pebbles in the ball to get a better curve on the pitch. You guys don't know this. You don't know this, and this is why you youngins don't understand that life was so much better, um, with simplicity. It was so much better with simplicity. We were simple. We were simple, yet we were fun. And honestly, our generation is the last great generation. Millennials, Gen Z, guys, I hate to say it, but you suck. You suck. I love it when my 11-year-old tells me, "Oh my god, I think I was born in the wrong generation. I should have been born in the '80s." And I don't blame him because you guys are making it look dreadful for us. So those are my thoughts, guys. Just for the record, those are my thoughts on bullies there. So the last video we're gonna end with the last video, and again I have to warn you, it's definitely you you cracks me up. Hashtag you cracks me up when he sounds like he's from the hood. You got to be careful who you bully. You just might get clapped. More folks staying strapped these days. Look at him dropping bars. Hashtag Hugh dropping bars early in the morning. Um, BBM Reptiles. He's in Puerto Rico now, but he's actually originally from the Lower East Side, which was ghetto. I'm gonna have to say it before it was Alphabet City and gentrified and has all these high money properties now. It was ghetto. That was the after the Bronx. That was the second Puerto Rico in New York City. And he said, "Dude, that was more peaceful. Never any violence. Playing Skelsies. If you don't know about Skelsies, guys, and Double Dutch and all these other great games, handball. Okay, if you didn't play handball, I referenced handball earlier. You missed a lot. You missed a lot. I'm sorry. You missed a lot. Okay. I'm in the North Country. They play cornhole up here. I mean, I never played cornhole as a kid, but I throw the cornhole around, Gotta try new things, but I gotcha. Ghetto, but we still had cats. We actually had an apartment not far on Second Street, not far from cats. I think cats was overrated, just an expensive delicatessen, or as we say in New York City, guys, an expensive deli. All right, guys. So if you have a weak stomach, you don't want to see this video. This video is going to be very, very disheartening. You've been warned. Oh gosh. I mean, this is not even this is almost intentional. Okay, like for this to get to this point, it's as if I mean this isn't I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But you can't this doesn't just happen overnight. This is extensive neglect. And again, I did not take these photos. I have never been to the facility. I do not know if um I don't know the legitimacy of these photos. Okay. Supposedly an employee took these photos and that's what we're seeing here. Um I think there has to be some sort of verification. And until that happens, these are allegations. Okay. But this is atrocious. I mean, that's the word for the day, atrocious. Because to get to this level, for these animals to be in this condition, now the employee that took these photos, these alleged photos from Slither Inc. Well, what did you do? And I'm not trying to blame you for this, okay? But besides taking photos, how how do you work in a facility like this and don't hold someone accountable? This is beyond disheartening. Okay. This is beyond abuse, animal abuse. If there's any legitimacy to this, and you're still giving a pass because of someone's history, you're still giving a pass because of the inability to let go of what was, because you're scared to confront someone like this. Whatever the case is, you are part of the problem. If you want people to stop litigating and doing things that are hurting the reptile community, if you want to give USARC a better position to fight for our rights in this reptile world, you have to do something. Again, there's different ways, right? But to not discuss these topics, to not, or to pretend that they don't exist, is just unacceptable, guys. And I think that that's that's where we're gonna leave it today. Challenge yourselves to make the reptile community better. Challenge yourselves to make a positive difference. Okay, because this is so. Snakes and the Fat Man says the employees were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements before they entered the building. There's always caveats to something like a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA. Um, a non-disclosure agreement, I don't think, and I'm not sure, you would have to look into it, but I don't think it can keep you from reporting criminal activity. Okay. That's for like proprietary reasons and stuff like that. But if there's criminal action, a non-disclosure agreement will not stop you from getting subpoenaed to testify. A lot of people in the finance world sign NDAs, etc. So I don't think it can. Oh, so this is actually an authority on the topic, and he's pretty much saying what I said. Non-disclosures cannot keep you from reporting crimes. So I was pretty sure about that, because a contract can't make you a contract cannot be contrary to the law. It does not supersede any law. And I agree with all of you. So do something, say something, do something. Eh, contact. Well, I guess we should hear from Samson. And again, guys, the point of this video was to disassociate my son Samson from Samson Pruitt of Slither Inc. Okay. And again, thank you to all of you that send me DMs whenever you hear other podcasters either talking about us or the assumption that they're talking about us. Um, that was the point. Okay. Kind of sucks when your name is associated with someone else that has these allegations against them. Again, until further notice, I guess these are only allegations. Something needs to be done though. And if you do see stuff like this at shows, I think the first thing that needs to be done is that you do capture videos or photos of these things, and that we as a collective unit hold the organizers accountable for allowing it to happen at their shows. Okay. Because stuff like this does not help the community. It does not in any way, shape, or form help the community. Someone get their hands on original photos and we can check the metadata. If the metadata is there, it may have a location and timestamp. So I from what I heard, an employee may be coming forward to discuss it. But again, this is just unacceptable. Uh, Ron says, Things like that take a lot away from all of what we are as keepers and gives organizations like, I don't even want to say their name, justification when they go in front of government agencies to regulate against us. Exactly. So staying quiet can hurt you guys. And as you see, the laws keep changing. Uh, Chris says, yeah, but he only hired white trash, so they didn't know that. A lot of them were afraid of being sued, and they're probably frightful of other things. They're probably frightful of having worse things happen to them, than litigation. So guys, speak up. You know, most people don't have the sense to deal with the legalities of what's going on. Most people don't know their rights. And that's why those of us that do have to say something and have to do something. Because that I'm not even into retics, and that's just an abomination. So guys, I'm sorry that we had to have this topic, but again, we do have to police ourselves. We do have to do something. So this was my contribution to trying to bring light on something that has been a hot topic. The original video is in the video description. I believe, what is the person's name? I keep forgetting their name, but they have posted many videos and this topic has been discussed. I know Garrett, he's a prominent figure and he's been under attack as well because I think it's Garrett Hartle, I believe, Reach Out Reptiles. He's been under attack as well for selling animals to Samson Pruitt. He was on a podcast not too long ago where he was ambushed. I mean, we want to sell our animals to the best people possible. I'm not sure if it's something that you can always monitor. People, you don't know what's going on, unfortunately. People can show you their setups, etc., but you don't know what happens once your animal is in someone's hand. It's the ugly reality of what we do. So try to make the world a better place, guys, and let's try to get back on track with the reptile community and do what we need to do to make it a better place. And accountability is going to be key. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Big, huge shout out to Paul from Large Marge Morphs for the $50 super chat. The rest of you guys have yourselves an amazing rest of your week. Go crush your goals, and we will get back on track with the giveaways. We have a couple of giveaways. It's just I just thought that this topic would consume the full hour, which it did. So have an amazing rest of your week, guys, and until we meet again, take care.